What's good, everybody? So far, today is a good day, and we're looking at anonymous advice. So, the topic that we're going to be talking about today, I wanted to call it the new phase. Now, I'm making it really simple, concise, and I want to make it very simple to understand. Not only just because I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page, but more importantly, we want to make sure that everybody can get the same message out of this. So, first things first, when it comes to this topic, I'm going to define the new phase. Now, the new phase is pertaining to relationships, and I've come to define it as a short period of time in which a person or persons, both people, or if you're in a polygamy kind of relationship, then of course everybody in the party or however that goes. But the new phase is usually characterized by a period of time in which, in the beginning of a relationship or the early phase of it, once it's developing into what it's supposed to become, that's when you're trying to impress the other person or the other people, however that goes. So that is the characterization of how it is defined. So why is this significant? Now, the reason why I've come to think about this and acknowledge this as a topic is because I've come to discover over a period of time that not everyone, but a lot of people, even including myself, have went through situations where we lack the experiences that we need to develop in the beginning to actually have a cohesive relationship that is healthy for everyone. So this is why I say the new phase is an important topic, because a lot of times we're so busy trying to impress the other person or acknowledge the good sides of ourselves is basically why some people say everybody is a marketer or everybody just is a salesman, because in the beginning of a relationship you're trying to sell yourself that you are suitable to be with that person, and that works for essentially everything. You try to sell your friends, you try to sell your family, you try to tell everybody that the innocent portion of yourself is truly who you are. Now, from person to person, it may determine if it's true or false, but for the most part, that is what is emphasized in the beginning of a relationship. So, here are why I have acknowledged this as a problem a lot of the times. There's nothing wrong with showing the good side of yourself, but a lot of the times that good side is impressed so dramatically that as far as I'm concerned, of course, both genders do it, but I've known it to be more emphasized with males, that we go so far or to such an extent to impress the other person that we do things that are out of our normal characteristics. For example, if we know that we eat fast food every day, but we decide to go on our first date at Applebee's or Red Lobsters, then you're basically setting yourself up to start a pattern that you may not be ready for, or may not be something that you consider a part of who you are, which is not the point of talking or getting to know each other or dating at all. So that's one thing. Another thing that's a problem is because a lot of the times when we see ourselves trying to impress the other person, we forget the important aspect of talking or just that getting to know someone phase. Even if it's been somebody that you've been friends with for a long time, we forget the importance of getting to know each other and going into what we call the talking phase. Now, that's important because that talking phase, acknowledging that you want to be intimate. Now, that is opening yourself up in ways that hadn't been opened up before. And just because you've been friends doesn't mean that you have been open in ways that you have allowed yourself to indulge in activities that you would consider equal to that of a potential significant other. Many friendships out there have already kind of crossed that threshold, but on a mental level, it really varies. It really makes a difference. The exposure that you give yourself, the embarrassment that you allow yourself to have with a friend versus a significant other, it varies. And many times, the significant other is used to put on a pedestal that the friends that they can't be at, or the significant other finds out information that the friends don't have access to. So, I digress. Another issue is generally when it comes to acknowledging the differences. One thing that is absolutely detrimental to any relationship, in my opinion, is acknowledging your boundaries. Now, the reason I say that is because we have things that we know that we cannot put up within a relationship. We look at everybody else's relationship, and a lot of times, many people find it a pet peeve to receive advice from somebody who's single. But on that spectrum, there's nothing wrong with that, because a lot of times some of these single people have acknowledged their boundaries. They recognize in another relationship where their boundaries may be. But of course, it's biased or from an external point of view. So boundaries are extremely important to acknowledge. And with acknowledging your boundaries, I highly recommend that it is be done in the absolute beginning of the talking phase. And reason I say that is because you establish who you are essentially within the mold of those boundaries. You acknowledge the other person, hey, this is everything that I just cannot deal with, and these are everything that you know, I enjoy or I will allow to occur or is compromisable, something that I'm willing to work out. And usually we don't think of all of them because usually that's a long or a diverse conversation. It's pretty broad. But over time, by establishing that, you make it a lot easier to allow the other person to know who they're dealing with. And of course, the next part, in addition to boundaries, is expressing your history. As you get to know the person, it is usually better that as you open yourself, that depending on the topics that come about, if you see that person as a potential significant other that you can trust, then it is highly important to acknowledge your history for the truth of what it was. Even if it's embarrassing, because in my opinion, it's a lot better for somebody to find out your embarrassing history directly from your mouth than for somebody else who may give a different biased perspective that can shatter or hinder your image with that individual. So I say all of that to say this. Those are things to consider. Now, the possible consequences, which usually does occur, if I had to give a percentage, I would say you're lucky to have a 50% chance that this can happen. Usually, in my opinion, is usually higher. If you skip that, if you rush the process and not handle the important aspects like boundaries, history, and acknowledging who you really are, then you set yourself up for potential heartache, arguments, and calamity, like different abstract scenarios that can really put your mind in tests that you could have avoided if you have went through the process efficiently. Now, this is not set in stone. Of course, these things can be done in adjustments or they can be done differently per relationship. But I just wanted to acknowledge that in that new phase, there's nothing wrong to impress the person, but it's highly important that if you do impress that person, that you are impressing them in a way that is truly who you are. So I'm going to give one analogy, and then I'm going to call it quits for the day. So let's say, for example, I got this. All right. So I got this flashlight, right? Something simple. All right, flashlight. Now let's pretend this is a trophy. Now this is the trophy analogy I came up with late last year. Now relationships are like a trophy. It's like an award. Whenever you go to an award show or whenever you see something like BET Awards, the Grammys, usually they call people up, congratulations, you won a trophy. They show it off, of course. It's not to be conceited or anything. It's usually just to acknowledge the person's hard work and effort. So the person that you're dating is usually like the trophy. Some trophies are bigger than others, some are more flashy, but the whole idea isn't the shape or the size of the trophy, it's the beauty of the work that it took to get it. So now that you have your trophy, I usually ask people, what did it take to get the trophy? It usually takes hard work. All right, what do you need to do hard work to get the trophy? It usually takes dedication, perseverance, due diligence, and many other things, resilience, and I could just keep going on and on. So it takes some mental characteristics to have the physical characteristics to follow behind it to earn the trophy. So now that you have your trophy, what does it emphasize? Why is the trophy important for you to show it off and really go to that podium and express your gratitude? Reason why is because you are expressing to everyone. And again, the trophy is representing the potential significant other. You're acknowledging to everyone around you, hey, I have worked my butt off. I have put forth the resilience, dedication, perseverance, determination to earn this. And as a result, I have emphasized putting my life and my time, on the line to attain something. And once I have attained this person, once I have attained the trust of the particular individual, I have earned the reward. So earning the reward, being able to express it to everyone and show it off, is basically saying, okay, we are official now. When you're talking, you're earning the trophy. Once you are official, you have the trophy. You have attained the trophy. It's yours, and you can show it off. And that's why, in my opinion, the trophy is somewhat of an equivalent of a relationship. Once you are official, it's not that you should, it's not that you have to continually do it, but just showing it one time acknowledges to everyone, hey, this trophy has been earned by me, and now that my name is engraved on it, or how we look at it as Facebook, Twitter, and all that, when it shows, hey, so and so is dating so and so, now everyone has acknowledged this trophy is yours, you have earned it, and you have done it honestly because it took the other person to accept it. So the problem with trophies isn't the fact that it's a trophy. The problem with trophies when it comes to relationships, the correlation or the analogy is not the earning. The problem is that once you earn it, you usually sit it down, and then if you did, if you went through the new phase, or if you have fell into that category where you was being new or being different, then the thing that it took to earn the trophy is not probably who you are. So as a result, once you earn the trophy, you put it on your shelf. Again, put it on the shelf is to acknowledge that you have earned it. Therefore, everyone is to acknowledge that, okay, this effort is still seen. And the reason why being on the shelf is different than being on the podium is because after a while, it's not that everybody doesn't care. Usually that is probably the case, but is that it's not everybody's business about that trophy anymore. They've seen it once. That's usually all it takes. And it's up to them if they want to acknowledge and honor your effort in getting that trophy. So now that the trophy is on your shelf, the problem is if you have not been yourself the entire time, or if you have taken it for granted, then the trophy eventually gets dusty. So it could be gold, platinum, made out of diamonds, it doesn't matter what it is. But no matter what the material is, once dust get on it, it can always go dull and it can always be forgotten. And that's the issue with a lot of relationships. Once you have put in all that time and effort to earn the trophy, then congratulations, you are not who you used to be. Things are not the same anymore. And now that you forgot to polish the same trophy that you had gotten, the value is not what you initially thought it was. And that is the trophy analogy. So I always think of it as there's nothing wrong with impressing the other person, but the issue, especially when it comes to this analogy, is that you never want to allow yourself to be someone that is more than who you are to maintain the very trophy you had to get. Because just like in real life, just because a trophy has your name on it, if you dishonor that trophy, or if you just so happen to forget about it, someone else can always take it from you and engrave their name over it instead of yours. So that's it for today, and I hope this helps anyone. So, PsychoTutor, getting ready for work. I'm gone. Peace.